Hello Bloomington, I'm Mayor Tim Busse, and this is the Council Minute for the week of May 11th. The City Council had a full agenda for our study session on Monday night, and there were 3 items that I thought you would be most interested in. The chair of the City's Sustainability Commission, Tim Busse, and our Sustainability Coordinator, Laura Horner, presented recommendations to the City Council to make our Curbside Cleanup program a much more environmentally friendly and sustainable program. Now, before I go any further, let me say that the annual Spring Curbside Cleanup program is one of the most popular programs that the city has going. Our residents regularly give it very high marks in our resident survey, and there is really high participation. So we know that proposing changes to Curbside Cleanup is going to get some folks a little excited. A couple of years ago, we started looking at Curbside Cleanup from an environmental perspective. With the help of our Sustainability Commission, we learned that in 2019, a vast majority of the material left out on the curb ends up in the landfill. The Council directed the Sustainability Commission to develop alternative methods to dispose of bulky items like chairs and couches in a more sustainable way. So why is this important? Well, solid waste contributes to greenhouse gases. Rising levels of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere cause climate change. Waste prevention and recycling are real ways to help mitigate changes to the climate. Bulky items are not accepted at the Hennepin County Waste-to-Energy facility. Most of the bulky waste from the curbside program ends up in the Burnsville Sanitary Landfill. The local landfills are approaching capacity, and we don't support the continuous growth of these landfills. We have to find better solutions. Here's what the Sustainability Commission recommended: providing bulky item vouchers and having a community cleanup drop-off event. The voucher would allow each household to schedule a pickup for 1 or 2 items at any time of the year, and the drop-off event at a central location would still provide a way to dispose of a variety of other items. This aligns with the Council's strategic priorities of high-quality services, environmental sustainability, equity and inclusion, and community image. It's cost-effective, there are clear environmental benefits, the program could be very accessible for those living in multifamily dwellings, which would, and with vouchers, be accessible for people with limited mobility. The Council and staff are moving ahead to flesh out the details on this new program. It's likely these changes will become effective in 2022, although we are looking at the potential of doing it as soon as next year. Our city assessor provided his annual assessment report to the Council this week. The city assessor and his team are responsible for setting the value each year for every one of the 30,000 properties in the city of Bloomington. If you own your property, you should have seen a notice in your mailbox back in March that informed you of the proposed value of your property. The value of your property is the basis for determining your property taxes for next year. This year, most homeowners will not see dramatic change in the value of their property. The median valued home in Bloomington is only increasing about 1%. We use the median value home as an example because that's the price at which half of the homes are valued less and half are valued more. The market for single-family homes is the biggest driver of values. Over the past year, demand in the housing market has remained strong, but prices stayed relatively steady. We also saw a steady growth in our commercial and industrial properties. The only properties that saw big increases in values were apartments. Apartment value in Bloomington increased almost 10%, largely because of the historically low vacancy rates driving higher rent rates. Overall in Bloomington, our total property value is at the highest point it has ever been. $14.6 billion. The bottom line is that your investment in Bloomington continues to be a good one. The housing market is strong, housing values are both strong and affordable, and growth in the rest of the community keeps our tax base well balanced. This week, the City Council continued to gather information from city staff about the city's budget situation and received additional details of how Parks and Recreations would continue providing programs to meet the needs of seniors if Creekside Community Center is not open. The Council spent quite a bit of time talking about the many hard decisions that will have to be made and making sure that we have a good idea of all of the issues when making those decisions. And we talked about the role of the community in helping to inform those decisions. I proposed to the City Council that we form a Community Budget Advisory Committee to help advise the Council. This is an approach that has been used in many other communities, especially in a time of economic crisis, to get the voice of the community members as a meaningful part of the budget decision-making process. In the near future, perhaps as soon as next week, I will propose 7 to 8 community members to serve on the Budget Advisory Committee and ask the Council to confirm those members. We'll ask this group to work with our staff to develop several different scenarios for the 2021 budget. We'll ask them to have community listening sessions related to the budget, and we'll ask them to advise the council on what they hear and what options should be considered, and finally, what they think. In selecting members of this group, we're looking for people who have familiarity with the city, with its operations, and to some extent, a knowledge of the budget. I'll be talking with former council members, representatives of our business and nonprofit community, and residents who have participated in the Citizen Leadership Academy and also in our city commissions. The decisions we'll be making over the course of this year will affect everyone in this community. We want the voice of the community included. That's a wrap on the Council Minute for the week of May 11th. Thanks for tuning in this week. We'll see you next week on the Council Minute. Stay safe, Bloomington.